that is a mutual benefit, and also what state and tools we can offer as a government so to fulfill, realize these events and programs. I think we shall start with the introduction. Лисовский Сергей Федорович, National Association of Wholesale and Distribution Center, Russia.
Дорогие коллеги, приветствую вас с началом вашей встречи. Желаю вам хорошей работы и главных результатов.
And the great
Тему,
results.
которую я хотел поднять,
The
это
topic I want to introduce
торгово-распределительные
is
центры. Она
Trade and
уже 10 лет.
Distribution Center.
Я безуспешно пытаюсь ее
I'm
продвинуть в
working
нашей стране.
sometimes in vain in promoting this topic since
Она то увлекает
2010, and this idea sometimes sees as positive as our government, but this is funny because the whole world has this system of trade and distribution centers which are successfully working, and we are working not only of the Russian field, but kind of Tsar in Russia. So
А вот для сбора той продукции,
to
которая
collect the production which is doesn't go directly to the distribution to the network. So when we speak about small amounts and small business,
торгово-распределительные центры крайне необходимы.
trade and distribution centers is something that is very required. They may help in allowing business to be present in those local regions
Главная
at
ошибка,
affordable prices. The main mistake, I think, made by the government and the centers, so people mix the distribution centers with refrigerators. This is not about keeping, yes, it is not about keeping and having it on.
дискредитирует саму идею.
So and this discredits the whole idea.
Субсидии на поддержку строительства торгово-распределительных центров, но их получили в целом.
So we were like for 2 years we were even getting some financial backup for 2 centrals, but it was a rather disappointing work, and then we couldn't provide the finances for that project. But I think this is a good idea, and it will be successful one day. And one of the ideas that we are dealing with is as well the building of big distribution centers. And I think that any system needs the calculation of market and things like. Let's take for example Novosibirsk. They built 4 centers, and one of them I think is, if I'm not mistaken, 150,000 square kilometers. Of course, if we take Moscow, that's many times bigger, but anyway, this work is going on.
мероприятий, и, соответственно, опять же,
we also think that but also we are in the threat of being discredited if the work goes on this way, but I think we should take the abroad experience, for example, the Germany, France, Spain, Italy. Italy is very interesting when in working, in dealing with small and medium business, and I think we can get a good economy sectors which will help providing job for people. So we may form export parties, export goods into good to big programs. So we may also think, so one more problem is the support of very small business, farmers and private farms, and the companies in the countryside. So helping them with venues, with places, so and it may also lead to some jobs that may appear that small regions, and we also may help in the citizens that they may get the products from the small countryside companies. And there is also support program, and in the countryside, in the villages, these places are given for free. So if we take Europe, the 100 euros is the medium price for lending the place. And this also, such idea also helps to fight with the monopolies. So, because let's take for example Domodedovo 4 seasons. This is a very bright example of private monopoly when they bought this territory, and then they may manipulate the market. And there was a conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and this excess of Armenian goods was had problems. So, here in every state, the system starts with the state help and the very serious state support, so that private monopolies don't interfere with the business. So we also try not to establish this big monopoly in the central city of our country, in our capital. So, for example, let's take this, the city Ranges, which is the biggest distribution center near Paris. 51% of it, for many years, it was it belonged to the state, and then we take Italy, so the municipal organs are participation in such centers, and the work of such centers is obligatory, and they also work, they give the priority for low renting. So there are a lot of aspects that we need to deal with, and unfortunately they sometimes fall out from our view, and this logistics sees as a very as a business that we should start with, but this is a complex business. This is social business that needs very strict governmental support. But if we introduce simple and understandable rules, then it gives the Russia and other countries of our community to work to produce more goods, to keep them and to distribute them abroad. So generally, I guess this is all. When we say that we have kind of ecosystem, and this ecosystem is something created by marketologists that look at that people of the whole world care about ecology more and more, and we also see that this becomes a very popular trend. So introduce this word ecosystem everywhere, but it doesn't exist in the economy. There are like economical systems, economical interconnections, political and social. Let's not to try to lead the trends by marketologists and others that try to introduce into banking and other systems this economy. And let's use simple words. Thank you very much, and success to your participation, to your events.
We are waiting for your requirements, etc. So, as a whole, within this discussion, Alexei Nikolaevich wanted to ask a question. As a representative of the state, what is going on right now to avoid monopoly? and to avoid the excess of pressure, trying in attempt to build some wholesale centers and deliver products. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. So actually, talking about monopoly, we've got a special service, Federal Service, Anti-Monopoly Service, which regulates all the players on the market field. And nowadays, I don't observe any such tendencies in our market in the Republic, and now it's only building and growing, so I'm going to speak about that. And these are market relationships, and I'm not really familiar with Moscow experience. Thank you very much for your question. Actually, yes, within being everywhere, I would say that in the Republic of Bashkortostan, there is not such a difficult problem because the market hasn't been created properly yet, because the niche is empty and not taken by monopoly, so we don't have that problem actually. But I would like to note that this market has been growing now, has been developing, and I'd like you to connect Rikovina Nikolaevna, the president of agricultural field, branch field. Good afternoon. I'd like to ask you what you can say about wholesale distribution of products, and talking about non-resource export. Could you tell us please about that, and the issues of agricultural and food products
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Соответственно, мы методологи, мы разработчики концепции развития цен в Российской Федерации в Министерстве сельского хозяйства. 6 лет назад, собственно говоря, появились единственные методические рекомендации, которые не проходили в такой период. Более того, хочу сказать, что мы плотно работаем с Башкортостаном в рамках разработки комплексного проекта и правительства
tomorrow, and we're going to present on the 11th of December our wholesale and distributional center. So Sergey has already told about key problems, and 2006, when that problem has been was developing, the logic is being changed, and we've even analyzed the differences in different ministries. In agricultural minister, they found they provided state state support, and nowadays the only one wholesale and distributional center is in Moscow only, which has feeder and vets and different train logistics, etc. And they correspond to those criteria and requirements, and we are addressed by many people from across whole Russia. And the only problem that no one wants to talk about are interregional fields and flows, and then they don't want to talk about middle hubs, and big hubs haven't been counted within those 6 years, and no one wants to actually talk about, but this word hub is really popular now, and Ministry of Commerce is talking about that, of developing different regional city structure. So everyone should know about wholesale and distributional center, and the main aim was to consolidate sets and to connect that within an informational center of guaranteed export of the goods. The manufacturers say that we will manufacture anything, just let us do that and guarantee our export. So the goods requirement is very essential and the opportunity to export that. Next task of wholesale and distributional center is to legalize money flows, because in some regions it's cash and it's not the source of taxes, and payment system was supposed to connect everything, and that candy that would allow us to wrap our wholesale and distributional center was the key, and if we go to if we move to Eurasian countries, Kazakhstan also addressed us, and there are some development in our center of development that, and 2 years ago we worked with Uzbekistan talking about the train that can deliver fresh fruit within 3 days from one place to another, Uzbekistan to Russia, and we've already had some agro trains, and Russian export is moving actively to that direction. And well, a month ago we were talking on this subject, and almost no wholesale and distributional centers are only on the initiative stage, not in the stage of realization everything. And some centers are claimed to be built, but only in Novosibirsk they promise every year to launch a new center, but that's it. And there are some central centers. And it's thought that they should be the centers of minimization of inflation, appearing of different tools. As I say, it's just chaotic and vague conception of the centers, and it doesn't let us to say that we don't have a united position within Russia or everywhere. And now it's talking Eurasian Commission. It is discussed there, and now I address the Republic of Bashkortostan. I heard about 4 years ago about those projects, and we think that only within complex project it's possible to develop the concept and attract hub. We've counted all the exports and imports, and now we can see all the positions of food and non-resource resources and non-resource export. And the main problem is feedback, backflows, what we can deliver to one direction and that we can get back, or to transportation or air transportation, railway transportation, etc. And looking at Uzbekistan, delivering of tomatoes to Vnukovo is done by aviation, and there are different directions of logistic systems, and we should look at that and look at that again and again. Development of Arctics and North Sea ways, etc. So all these questions should be asked strategically, and all our colleagues are presented here, and we should go back to the schema of our center, and we should look at Asia and CIS, etc. And we should represent this methodology and move to different countries as well. So if you've got any questions, please, you're welcome to ask. Thank you.
So I want to point out that generally for the whole export, logistics is everything. It forms the price, and I also want to add that the transformation from a simple product to a complex product, and this redevelopment of the product, it also adds the price for the export good. Thank you. So now I would like to ask you to Agipsimu Ashkalovu, the head of the Privolzhsky Customs Service. Welcome. Just a second.
Алло, приветствую вас.
Good afternoon. The question to you is within import-export. The key statistics this year, what do we have about the statistics? Good afternoon, dear colleagues. So we have the following statistics. I want to say that in our subject, the Republic of Bashkortostan, I look at the results of the external trading with CIS and Far Eastern countries. If we talk about export, to promote our production, I want to say the 10 product goods list. The first is oil, mineral oil, and oil products, then non-organic chemistry products, then we speak about lumber, then blast mass and black metals, and I also want to say that we have in the food field we have only 9 about sugar and only 11th position. So this is the 10th. So when we speak about food supplies, they get, as you see, points number 9 and 11. When we speak about countries far abroad, when we speak about import, the goods, the food import is on the 3rd. This is the 3rd place, so this is the statistic. So we also wanted to solve this problem of disproportion, especially in export. Yes, I agree with you completely, and we also should point out that generally that non-resource export goes up and up, and it is clear that it's on the place number 9, but we see that 4 years ago it was rather farther, yes, so in this we see the positive dynamics in it. So this increase may be not very fast, but anyway it is very substantial and it's a good result. We also may move on in it, I think, including your help, of course, and we also think that we will probably go from place number 9 to some more noble place. So when we speak about oil and chemistry industry, they are not very accessible for the main market. This is a very private circle of entrepreneurs. But when we speak about non-resource exports, so such goods are very interesting to deal with. So as it was declared by our president, we placed the main importance to the middle class. And I would also like to ask you about the peculiarities of the customs work of the cargo customs work. So has anything changed? Yes, I would like to say that within the recent 2 years we had a large-scale reforms, and we also moved through this custom service regulations. And I would say that in Privolzhsky region in 2017 we had the first in Russia custom service, electronic one, and the work of such custom service is almost 99%, and it of course helps to make the world of the business simpler. In this system, there goes a systematic work on this non-contact business online, and it is registered automatically and distributed. There are some criteria, and I hope that this is very useful and good. So in this our experience is developing in the whole country. Now I guess we have 16 centers of electronic custom service. So and 8 custom boards, e-custom boards, and there are some criteria about work. Of course, they work on having non-personal contacts between the players of the market, which leads to lack of corruption, and this leads to fruitful work. And this work, well, we have the strict, understandable, clear list of documents that you don't need a lot of understanding in that. We don't include this human factor, and we try to optimize this process. So thank you, dear colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, dear colleagues. I think within in this framework, we would love to hear the opinion of Laszlo Horvat, CEO of Polis Commercial Consulting Society. You've been investing the Russian Federation within several decades and bringing some foreign money and realizing some projects here. We would love to hear, according to the experience of competence, your opinion, and what can you tell us about some advantages and disadvantages. And I know that you had realized a lot of different projects across Europe, and talking about Europe and European and Russian part, what should we pay attention to? What Bashka project creators should pay attention to, so we can increase everything. Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you very much for your invitation, the opportunity to speak here. So, from my experience, I'm representing the Hungarian company Polis, and we have been working on the Russian field more than 25 years. And one of the branches is agricultural sector, or healthcare, building, and working within utilities facilities. And most of our projects have been realized within export projects and attracting investment banks, etc. And our company takes part in this project from the very beginning, and we help our customers to build a good structure from different sides, and we are ready to invest from the very beginning, from the first stage, while they don't even, before getting the access to everything from the banks. It's impossible to realize the project. And talking about our experience, so more than 10 refrigerators are here. So as it's already been said, some people don't mix the concept of refrigerators as freezers, which are for storage of agricultural or any other products, and in normal space or low temperature space. And wholesale and distribution center is a complex, as we all understand, the facilities and equipment for manufacturing and remanufacturing, wrapping and realization, launching of agricultural products is so this center is very important for manufacturers of agriculture and consumers. And one of our main idea is to so not only in Russia, but in Europe, in Hungary, the most important role, the state plays a very important role in launching such projects, because the essentials of it's very essential to provide service to small and medium businesses. That's one of the most important aims of wholesale and distribution centers, and that's what we did in Hungary for a huge retailer. They had not only the aim of providing the local society, but also small and medium business, and servicing small and medium manufacturers of agricultural products. And it helps us open the segment and providing a lower price for realization. And the structure and target of the state regulation is really important, and we think that we play a huge role in this. Also, a very important role plays a very important role is preparing the project. And it's already been mentioned that the projects have been discussed for many years, and so we, with our financial investments, etc., can help prepare those projects within the important level, so the banks can finance that. We understand that it's a very difficult task, but without really serious and marketing research from import and export of the product, it's just important, and we can only discuss that we're getting ready to decide or solve all the problems, but we haven't even started. Talking about our goal, it requires high technologies and modern equipment. So looking at some figures, medium figures, we understand that everything can change, but the process of launching is about 1.5 months. If we're talking about the wholesale and distribution center and retailers' role is really important here. And the security program in Russia is also here very important. And the modern current situation shows us that there are some problems and we need to think about them. And I can say that our company is ready to participate in solving your goals, and we wish you luck in solving that problem, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, dear colleagues, speak to the microphones and put your microphones closer so that we hear you better. Thank you very much. I think
мы услышали
we've
мнение
heard
специалистов,
the specialists
касаясь ситуации
about
в
this
основном и не только
situation.
по
Yes, so not
республике,
only
а
about
в
the
целом,
Republic, but also the
ситуации
specialist opinion from abroad
распределительных центров
about the work of wholesale and distribution centers and also resource and non-resource
тут уже пора
experts. So, and I think that we need to go to
к тому, что
some
уже все-таки делается и происходит на территории Республики
topics
Башкортостан.
that
Думаю, это
are
в первую
connected with the
очередь,
Republic
к
of
Гусеву
Bashkortostan. And
Алексею
first, I think we give the word to Gusev Alexei.
Алексей Николаевич.
Alexei Nikolaevich.
Спасибо большое, Александр.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Yes.
В целом вопрос задать, как бы предполагалось, что будет достаточно много конструктивной критики, так
So we were thinking that we're going to have the work like this, that we will listen to some competent opinion of different participants, including the foreign ones. Unfortunately, Mr. Barlabayev couldn't speak, but he will join us. His deputy will join us later. So now we want to speak, like we see that the complex of problem is, the set of problems is understandable. And when we speak about the lack of resources, and we also speak, like we discussed yesterday, and I've heard now that the projects themselves initially are non-packed kind of properly. They don't have the idea, they don't have the pack that we understand how to get the finance, the backup. And I would like to listen to you and to listen from you, like what is done in this field, and do we have any new tools to work next year that we may implement. Thank you very much, Alexander. So, colleagues, do you hear me? Well, first, I would like to say thank you to be invited for such an event, because, of course, communication with business and the market players, it helps to see the tendencies and the problems, the key problems that we have in the sphere of this wholesale and distribution center works. We understand that building of such centers is one of the drivers in the trade sector, and we understand both inner and outer markets, and I'll give you some numbers. Here the Republic is on the 8th floor within the retailing trades, and on the 16th in the wholesale sector, and we understand that we have the mechanisms of realization, and we know the mechanisms of retail work, but the wholesale work depends on this work of such distribution centers. We also combined the work in different centers, and we see that internal turnover, goods turnover, depends on the area of on the storage space, and we see that today the Republic of Bashkortostan has a very big potential in this field. We'll also analyze the volume of import and export, and within the field of agriculture, we see that if you plus the volume of import and export, that, and we see that everything was like, we take, for example, some products, like we import them, and we also started thinking about this ADD, added work. Okay. So we have a big potential in our republic. First, in geographical position, we are one of we have 3 federal interstates, and according to the logistics, our geographical position is very good, and we also have within this 500 square kilometers, we have 6 million citizen cities, and it allows our republic to be very attractive for investments, and now we're working on the bond zones, which the custom zones, which allow to have this expenditures on the custom stock right in the process of the trading of this good. And we also have 4 million people in our republic, and they have this desire and understanding of getting the products. And we also see that the distribution is not very fair. We see that 40% of our republic lives in the villages, in the countryside, and we need to develop such distribution centers. We need to develop them not only in Russia, not only within Ufa, but also abroad. So we analyzed the needs, and we also see that 25,000 points of trade of different formats, and we understand that they all need different structure. Like on federal networks, we also 140 shops, and the republic like 25,000 work points, trading points. They are small local talks, and before this pandemic happened, we had meetings with such businesses, and we started speaking about this import substitution thing. Yes, what needs to be done to work in this field. And after this work, we understood that today in our republic, thinking about this sales turnover volume, we have the need, which is open, about 500,000 square meters for the distribution centers. And we see that this dynamics for the first time in our country, and we, like our republic last year had more than $1 billion of turnover volume, and last year, and we introduced 2 distribution centers last year, and this was the push to increase the turnover so greatly. So what we did then, we started to think about the needs and distribute the needs. We understand that our republic has a great agricultural potential, but we see that sometimes the product that we produce sometimes doesn't come to our market, and we have the problems here because we see that what is important for a big trade network. So the brand name and the price. So, but also is one of the problem is like lack of service. This store and transport and logistics services. And we understand that small companies, small farmers have very poor chances to get to a big network. And we have now the question, like how to introduce such networks to the big shops, big shop nets. And we started to think about creating some development institution that may unite all the members of this field and to understand the needs of each party in this center, in this circle, yes. And then we need to understand how to distribute the production in the products produced in our republic. And I think that 150 billion of rubles is the point of this import substitution that is possible in our republic. And we need to work on some regulations that we may introduce the products, unite them, and to send them to the shop network. So, and we see that we need the need of this 500,000 square meters of distribution centers is very urgent, and we need to develop this need and work on this, fulfilling this need. And we see that there's small corner shops that exist near all houses are also a very important sector of this work, and we need to make an integrated mechanism that will be the point of uniting the whole parties of this market, introducing the manufacturers and those companies that process the manufactured goods, and also logistics company which would work on this integrated mechanism. And we also see the task, not of management, but also of creating the mechanism that will allow all this, to create this net, this chain, so that this chain of of the product is shorter. And so we ask different questions and about what companies need, and mostly this is not about the financial support, but of course this is important, but not the biggest one to be discussed. The information was the first key thing, and then the speeding of the realization, invest projects from the idea to actual work when we implement the work of such products, so that business works. So creation of such structure which would simplify the work within the state departments. So we have this as a key priority of our work, and the concept of our work. So we have the concept of our work, and this concept is, for example, if we take this interstate food supply, yes. So, and then it works. This system in 2019, it was about 6 million of rubles. And then for 4 months of this year, when this concept started to work, so we invited the investors with billions of rubles, 5.5 billions of rubles. So when we see that now, if we continue such trends in the agriculture work, and thank you, it will be a very good thing. So if you have questions, I will be glad to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to point out that we projecting on our wholesale and distributional centers and actually
но нужно учитывать, что
special
это
products,
касается
and
и всего сегмента
we should think that it
рынка.
concerns
Это не
the whole
обязательно
segment of
мы
the
говорим
market,
сейчас
not
про
necessarily that
оптово-распределительные
we're talking
центры,
about
когда говорится
wholesale
про
and
комплексный
department
подход.
sectors.
Просто
When we talk
хочу
about complex
отметить
approach,
вашу работу,
I just
проделанную
would like to
в
know
рамках
your
дорожного сервиса,
work that
и
you've done
отметить
within
то,
the
что получилось
transportation
добиться,
service and what you've
снижение
achieved,
порога для входа
that
в
you've achieved
приоритетный
the
проект,
decrease
потому что это на
of
самом деле помогло очень
the
многим бизнесменам
threshold for
реализации их
some business to start their projects thanks to some investments, and about 3 or 4 years ago to get into the priority sector, there were supposed to be really huge financial projects, and talking about the necessity that we should show money at the beginning of the project, we can't talk about that actually, and we would like to thank you for your work, and it's been written here that our Kazakh partners are going to connect us. There won't be Mr. Golubay, but will be his will be his deputy. The National Commerce and Distributional Network, Michael Filipov. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you. Thanks, the expert. It's been said a lot and everything has been correct. I would like to share my experience, what we're doing in Kazakhstan, and our thoughts of future development. In Kazakhstan, we've got the same ideas about products and everything, and mediators, and about 50% is commerce, and the main, and so a program of creation of wholesale and distribution center has been accepted, and we are in a very great position because the state can't build the center or do some marketing analysis, and the private player has been attracted who has got logistics and everything, and as a co-working with the state, a system of goods provision has been created. These are not just free juice, for example. I'd love to say that we have a chain that from the beginning till the end, from the field to the market, and what we are planning now is starting building. So that starts with vegetable storage. And it's really important to develop agricultural consulting on that basis, because we can build it with some Dutch equipment or container storage, and about half of everything is on the products, and our key customers are small and medium business that can't allow some high quality infrastructure, and so they're going to be provided with sharing agricultural consulting and the opportunity to store everything and earn more money and invest them in the production. The next stage is this center in its classical understanding as a franchising and everything. And there is also the third element in this chain, which is a special special for Kazakhstan. It's a distributional center, kind of like the center, but the density of population is quite low in Kazakhstan, and it doesn't allow us to build a huge wholesale and distributional center. So it also restrains the development of small markets, and so it's only about 30% of such markets, while in Russia, for example, it's about 50, and each place is unique. We've got the vegetable storage in the containers, and infrastructure is really important because trucks can't move it from the field to the manufacturer, and so there are a lot of losses. Talking about international interaction, one of the aims is to building expert, standardization of the product, unification of the product, and it's already been said about standards, and so Russian consumer services would look after that, as in Bashkortostan, for example. But for the analysis, there is also a very important aspect, which is the state role in state insurance and some forward deals. And one of the problems is that why Russian networks buy vegetables and fruits somewhere else, because they can't find a reliable partner nowhere in Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan, etc. So we've initiated the idea of creation Eurasian commercial network, which will be realized in the wholesale and distribution center, and the state will be able to give some guarantees of implementation of all the members or the presidents of the centers of the forward deals, and it will let break the vicious circle, and people will be able to buy everything directly. And talking about the networks, huge networks, wide networks, understand the necessity of the centers, and they look at them as potential residents, and inside within themselves they understand that they need to create such centers within the infrastructure, because logistics in such big boxes don't build the chain, and the stock can't provide a turnover of some products because they are not sold in some special containers, and they need such centers. So nowadays in Kazakhstan we are building 24 facilities. They will be kind of like the centers, and they will provide more than 2 million tons of products, and we will also work with the union, the variants of partnership, and everybody is really open and interested in that. And in conclusion, I would love to say that this union of the centers, such centers, will be a very competitive advantage that will let achieve our goals of decreasing prices or increasing some balanced commerce, etc., and guaranteeing quality of trades. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, one question, Alexei Nikolaevich, do you agree that if we have an integrated interconnection between companies, the effect goes larger, and that if it is possible to give a commentary about that in a minute or two. So what is about the risks insurance within this? So if it is connected in the network between departments, so there is the confrontation according to the international regulation system, that it may get into a conflict. So what can you say here? So I would start about confrontation. We don't need it. We need to work on different tools. And we understand that agriculture is a very risky field because it depends greatly on the weather and climate. But as we were talking, that every year we see one and the same story. Some product grew more and it's cheap than some product was less grown and it sells pricier, more expensive, and next year that may be like something completely different. And such mechanisms, of course, should be implemented. And when we speak about the competence, and yes, of course, if we have a working network, and of course we may lessen the expenditures on logistics at least. So logistics and transportation is the thing. So if we know precisely what product is supplied, what number, what volume is supplied, and what volume we need to produce. So of course we will enlarge the process of work with this in this field and make such products more competent on the market. So we see that when this year we had experience that countries started to close their borders and this logistics ideas shifted, and we also of course we did a great job to work in this field, but this pandemic situation led us into thinking. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Alexei. Now I would like to give the floor to Lishuk Vladimir, the Executive Director of the National Association of the Wholesale and Distribution Centers. So, Vladimir Vasильевич, are you with us? Welcome. Turn on the microphone, please. No sound. No sound. So I think that we may now, like while this technical thing is shifted, let's go then to one of the competent opinion, and Цыганов Alexei, commercial executive director of the Eurohold company. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Can you speak to the microphone? Closer. Good afternoon. I would like to tell you about our company, Eurohold company. We deal with the whole cycle of building and realizing the vegetable storages, different kinds of storages, any object, including the building of houses also, we may implement this according to the client desire. So we work for more than 20 years. For this period, we realized great number of the projects in Russia and abroad. For example, we have some projects in the fruit and vegetable storage store in Uzbekistan and also in the Republic of Kazakhstan. Also the store of vegetables, a big one. We realize some projects both in Russia and abroad. So we think that it is very important to start a project after a great starting work. After working it off, it is important to determine the keys our client wants to get. We help him or help them in realizing this. So we may give the full circle of services, starting with the documents and experts. So the building, constructing work, the delivery of the equipment, and introduce the service of work after manufacturing. So we would like to see your opinion, the expert meeting about implementation of modern digital technologies, because we know your level of competence, because your name is known to everyone who works in your field. So for the whole audience, so we would like to speak about the digital work in this field, so how they. So like to speak about how to minimize money and all the other expenditures, labor expenditures, because Euroholod is the company chosen because their technologies are used on the. Okay, so let's speak about the pluses. The first plus is, since we have the engineering personnel, we don't hire subcontractors. So no pricing on this level. So we have our own this one. Let's go to the second plus. It's the modern constructions of the building. So we work with the Russian manufacturers, Russian factories, that they work on the combined metal, lightweight constructions, depending on the region, on the place of the venue, and we try to find a fruitful combination of work so that this work is done simpler and cheaper, but at the same time we are caring a lot about the quality of the buildings that we build, and it leads to the money. So the equipment, unfortunately, this is not that great. So we've lost the potential of the refrigerators. We don't have the special equipment for this refrigerators in Russia, compressors, air coolers, especially for long, so we have to buy them abroad. Yeah, so this process starts going on. But when we speak about big air conditioning, air cooling system, unfortunately, this of course falls on the client. But like being an engineering company, we try to maximum to bring it local to the construction, so that we work in it. And then
интересно,
the very interesting thing happens, the agrotechnology that we work in. If we speak about the vegetable storing, the main thing here is not the refrigerator, but the air conditioning systems. That even if you grow it out of the ground, the vegetables continue to breathe, kind of. They have the stress being extracted from the ground, and we need to lead them through some certain cycle of preparing them for long keeping, for long storing. If it sounds, of course, that we are talking about living creatures, but we have this combined work with our Belarus companies, so that they have this fanning system that they present. So unfortunately, it's very difficult to. They're not produced within the CIF project, but they're using the whole potential of the motors. So we get the wide range of the engine work, and we of course economize on the power supply, and we provide the temperature level, and we keep this temperature filled within this 2 degrees Celsius project. So we know how to make refrigerators and non-cooling system if the environment allows. So, for example, we take the Republic of Bashkortostan, and if we should keep the vegetables from September to March, but we may keep them without refrigerators. Yes, we need to only introduce some special conditioning system. So our company introduces maybe sometimes people say about even 30% of economies. So we don't introduce extra systems in moisturing because they don't moisture. So the bacteria don't appear much, and infections that may be developed in a very moistured atmosphere. And at the same time, we work within the regulations of agroeconomy and help the moisture of the product work. And the last moment is multi-product, is what everyone was talking, that on the beginning level it's difficult to understand what vegetables to keep and how to keep them and in what volume of them exists. So it's difficult to understand the number of containers because different vegetables need different atmosphere. We created the equipment that may allow different periods to keep in one the same container of different types of vegetables with the same great results. So we hope that our experience, our energo-effective equipment, which takes twice less power with the help of special ventilators and installed heat interchangeable devices, and all these things will allow your project to be investment attractive and attractive. So, Alexey Sergeyevich, I would like to point your attention, maybe in a minute or two. Talk please about the digital technologies and the feedback technologies of how to understand what is happening in the container in the box. So can you give it a short thing? In short, but because this technology is important not only for the wholesale and distribution centers, but also it allows the businessman to solve a lot of problems connected with the money and products. Yeah, of course. We supply obligatory the system of remote control, remote controlling. Yes, so every box, every container has about 12 to 18 data recorders. So in this data is recorded continuously, and even if we see that something is happening wrong in the container, the signal comes both to us and to the client. Even he can do, or the client can do it within his or her phone, because there is a special application for that. And before the production spoils, we get the information about it, and we may react to that. And which is very important, we may analyze the process of keeping to think in advance about what can happen in future according to the data from the past. So our system and control system developed by us, you see. So this is a non-European thing. So all the components were created in Russia and Belarus. So thank you, Alexei. That's a very interesting technology. It helps, first of all, the director of the project to control of what is happening on his production center. Because, and even if he may be 1,000 kilometers away from the company. So now we would like to give the floor to Vladimir Lещук.
Добрый день, слышно меня, да?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Lещук. Great. I would like to congratulate all of us that United Nations in 2000 has claimed 2021 as a vegetable and fruit year, and since we connected with Ambassador of United Nations, we know that it's going to be celebrated within the Eurasian community. And also I would like to thank the head of the Bashkir Republic, Radia Khabirov, and Prime Minister Andrei Nazarov, and the audience who are present today and participate in this wonderful event, and with the opportunity to be able to speak in front of that audience. As our president has already said, within 10 years there have been only just work, and Nikolai Nariko said that it's high time we start manufacture products within Eurasian space, and I'd like to say what's going to be done in the next year, fruit and vegetable year, and we start from the far south, from Tajikistan, where the company Vitamins of Tajikistan, which is a member of our National Association of Wholesale and Distributional Center, with the chief, Mr. Dalatov, is working on the creation of 3 wholesale and distributional centers, and we working with that. It's going to be in Dushanbe and 2 different regions. So we always talk about Uzbekistan, but we forget that there is also Tajikistan, which is south and earlier. And I'd like to say that the building of those centers will help to inscribe this region in our good collecting network, and there is a tender that is going to be organized, and Mr. Delato is waiting for different ideas, and so let's help our brothers to build a new center and receive great high quality Tajik fruits and vegetables. And I also know that the project of such centers creation has been working since for a long time, and in March it's planned to be launched in Dushanbe, and now the president and the leader of the nation is observing, is watching this development of the project. And if we go further, within several years, we've been to Tajikistan for a long time, and alongside with the delegation of the state, we were there, and the question was discussed. The question of building one of the wholesale and distribution centers was discussed on the area of Tajikistan in Jazakski region, and we hope that some works will start in that region very soon, and there are a lot of members of our association who are busy with creation and building of such centers. They can enlist them. Alexei Tsyganov, who represents Eurohold company, Termo and Rosbana companies, and many other companies. And Rosbana company has had research in Kyrgyzstan in a place which is called Kızılkaya, and in Kyrgyzstan the building of such center is also being planned not far from the border with Tajikistan, and we are looking at the we're speculating on that project, and we think that all the Eurasian members should take part in that creation, and we took part in the trade congress, and it proved that the building of such centers, and nowadays the attention is paid to agricultural field by our head and the head of Russia, and I'd like to know that the head of Kazakhstan, and unfortunately Babayev couldn't take part in this discussion, and my colleague has already told us about building such centers. And last week here in Moscow we discussed within the Eurasian Economical Commission with the members of Kazakhstan that first 7 centers are going to be opened, and national goods distribution and wholesale and distribution centers are going to take part in that, and we're going to sign that agreement with our partners from Kazakhstan. And in January we are planning to visit Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan to get acquainted closer with all the problems and issues that exist there. On the 2nd of September this year, not a very calm year, we were on business trip in the Republic of Belarus, where we met the manufacturers of farmers and manufacturers, agricultural members of one of the regions, and they agreed to participate, and we are now considering the projects as well, and we think that the Republic of Bashkortostan is located very successfully and historically. It is located in the heart of Eurasia, and it's impossible to avoid you. So no matter how we look, all the roads lead to Bashkortostan, and I'm very proud of being friends with a lot of people from this region. Those people are really hardworking, active, and creative, and business-oriented people who are really great to work with. And we've got a representative of Bashkortostan, Alexander Haritonov, who is the mediator of today's discussion. And we know that you will be able to do everything, you will manage everything, and we will help you. And I want to say that the Republic of Dagestan is a magnificent land, and we've been working there for 5 years, and I think that not just little attention is paid to that republic because of some reasons, and there is a company where the chief director is my great friend, Mr. Verkutov, and now they're working in the city Kaspiysk on creation of such a center, and in the industrial park Aurora are doing some works are being done there right now, and I think that very soon we'll see that some Dagestani fruits are going to be delivered in a packed way in different regions of Russia and with a reasonable price. And for example, in Chelyabinsk Oblast, such a packing center is being planned now. I'm sorry, Vladimir Vasilyevich. Thank you very much. According to our time limit, we should finish, and please could you briefly speak about all the moments on the Republic of Bashkortostan. Yeah, I'm finishing. I can say briefly that we can also help financially by different competitions of integration and development. There are such competitions exist, and you should pay attention to that. They help to those who lacks in finance. So thank you very much for your attention, and good luck in our great important business. Thank you, Vladimir Vasilyevich. Yes, the use of such tools as financial institutes for the whole business, whether it's a stable region or any wholesale and distributional centers, etc. So about 1.5 weeks ago, our Premier Minister decided to reform them, and we think that in conclusion, I'd like to address Alexei Nikolaevich very briefly, please. We are over limit right now, time limit now. So first, where can middle businessmen can go to pack their project, attract investments, and receive some financing from the field? Please, very briefly, can you see this? So, depending on the branch, we've got some branches which are responsible for commerce, or economics, etc. So our Republic of Bashkortostan has a great pool of investment attracting programs, and those the results that we had of investment attracting as a result of this year showed us that we've got a very great climate for investments. Thank you very much. So, as a whole, I wouldn't let you go that easily. So, for example, the businessman needs to pack their project, and yeah, there is some side consulting organization that makes money on that. But talking about the state support, it's your responsibility or the cooperation of the development of the Republic of Bashkortostan, and now we're being watched by some people who want to start up in their project and what they should start from. Can you give us some address for that, where people can go for that, to be consulted and receive some competence assessment of their project or a roadmap from the start? Yeah, surely we've got a lot of support for projects and the Center of Strategic Initiative, etc. So my suggestion is, if people, startups are interested in that, you should go to profile-oriented branches and companies. You can find it on our website, and we're always happy to see you. Thank you very much. So our panel session is going to end, and I'd like to know that a lot of attention has been paid today to import and export of non-resource and non-power group food and vegetables produce, and we can project that onto any non-resource type of export, because any business and any inputs within the framework of international investment investing goes according to same rules, and I think that now we've received the answer from the representative of the state as this work is being done. Does anyone want to add anything, colleagues, please? Oh, right. I would like to thank you, everybody who has come on our forum, and I would like to know that we also going to have B2B talks. So if you would like to talk, please welcome. Thank you.